Good morning, traders, and welcome back to the Trader Bacon Show. I'm your host, Gates Adams, and I hope everybody here in the U.S. had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Obviously, we had some market closures over the course of the last week, as well as some lower volatility and some, holiday-type movement. But we are back in action as we approach launch into December, pre-Christmas time, so we should have some decent movement over the course of the next few weeks. Hopefully, as we continue to round out this year in what should hopefully be a pretty exciting end of 2024. Now, all of that said, a couple of things. First and foremost, congratulations to last week's winners. We gave away 3 evaluations. Congratulations to Peter, Steve, and Paul. You guys went easy on me with the names this week, so appreciate that. But congratulations to you guys. If you have not done so yet, please make sure to fill out the form for today's show so you have a shot at one of those evaluations yourself. Also wanted to take a quick moment and announce what comes after Thanksgiving is Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Apex, like everybody else, is having a big sale. Unlike a lot of the other retailers out there, this one actually got some meat on the bones. They're doing 90% off evaluations through tomorrow at I got to say 11:59. It's not officially midnight, but 11:59 p.m. tomorrow. If you need some more evaluations, now is the time to go in and stock up at 90% off. Make sure you use promo code Benzinga always to get the best prices available. We're looking forward to that. Sorry, it's one of those mornings. Now, today we have an exciting show for you. I have a phenomenal guest that I'm really, really excited about sharing with you guys today. Lockie Ellsworth out of Singapore. Let me give you a little history on Lachlan. He is a 15-year veteran of the Australian military with multiple operational tours. He is the co-founder of Samurai Day Trading out of Singapore. He has been a full-time trader, investor, and educator since 2007. The guy knows what he's talking about, and he's going to share some of that with you. He's also contributed to co-authoring one of the international best-selling books on wealth generation. And he has a massive goal, which I think is phenomenal, is to have $1 billion impact on the world of trading. And his means of doing so is to create 1,000 millionaires through the resource of trading. He's already got several in the books. And today he's going to share some incredible insight with you guys. So make sure to pause everything else, put away any distractions, and let's welcome Lachlan on today's episode of the Trader Bacon Show. Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Are you ready? Because the Trader Bacon Show starts right now. Lockie, good morning. Good morning for me. I guess it's officially morning for you, right?
It is definitely just past 1 a.m. my time. So
the wee hours, so we can still get away with a good morning. Well, thank you for staying up and spending some time with us today. I've been excited to have you on the show. This is going to be a lot of fun. I know who Sunshine Grandma is. Lee, welcome, and we love to have you on the show here. Thank you to everybody who's joining in. And Lachlan, listen. I first and foremost, and I always say this to my veterans who are on the show, is thank you so much for your service. I think a lot of people forget how meaningful that is, and I just want to take my moment of my time to say thank you for that. So let's talk some trading, man. So you've been trading since 07. I say you've been trading since 07. You've been a full-time trader since 07.
Yeah, absolutely. I got out of the military, as you've said. So thank you for the thank you. It's certainly it's lovely to be recognised. There's no doubt. I spent 15 years in and had a great time. But the flip side of that is as I transitioned out of the army to become basically a something else, I got parked at a desk at a little bank in Sydney called Macquarie Bank. And I was looking around at everybody that was there for 12 or 14 hours a day, thinking, you know what? I'm used to climbing mountains. I'm used to kicking doors in. Honestly, I don't know if I can do. I don't know if I can do a 9 to 5 or a 9 to 6 or a 9 to 7. And I'd always been fascinated with day trading. So I thought, you know what? I've got this transition period as I leave the army, so a 6-month transition. I said, I'm just going to go and learn to be a professional trader, and I started by doing that at a bank. And it was, mind you, I dabbled. Dabbled would be an accurate word in Forex and also CFDs. I didn't actually realize at the time that not all forms of trading were equal. I thought Forex was the same as futures, same as everything else. Was I in for a bit of a reality check when I got to the bank? There is no doubt about that. It was fantastic.
So you had a little bit of a learning curve in Forex, and I bring this up because you've actually written one of the books that you've written, as I mentioned, you've written several and co-authored. But we were talking about it before the show. What's the name of the book that you wrote about Forex and futures?
It's a great question. After spending about 6 months at the bank, I wrote a book called Forex versus Futures: The Global Deception Continues, because I didn't realize, I know a little bit of a maybe a controversial subject, that one, but I didn't realize when I went to the banks, I didn't realize they don't actually trade Forex. They trade currency futures. Right. Now, I didn't think there was a difference, right, until I standing on a bank trading floor with more than 200 traders and not a single person traded Forex or CFDs. And I suddenly went, hang on a second. How come it's getting promoted around the world, and yet you're a bank, you make billions of dollars per year, but you don't trade those things, right? And I found out a lot about market design and wrote a book on it. And here we are. So.
Can you give us a little 30-second snapshot of what that deception looks like, why you went that route with the book?
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. I mean, it's an awesome question, because it's ultimately the foundation of everything I've done since August 2007. So I found out ultimately that as a futures trader, there's no such thing as OTC, or over-the-counter trading. So basically, when let's, for example, you and I were both trading the NASDAQ together, we see the same price at the same time because we're both plugged into the Chicago exchange. Mm-hmm. If, however, we were trading Forex and there were 2,000 different Forex brokers globally, there'd be 2,000 different Forex prices for the NASDAQ all at the same time. So your price is defined by your broker versus the exchange. And that gives the broker some incredible market manipulation opportunities that just don't exist in the game of futures. So I discovered, dare I say it, truth and honesty in the financial markets, and became a futures trader. And I've never looked back. It's been amazing.
It's almost weird coming out of my mouth, because this is not generally my stance on most things, but sometimes regulation is a good thing. So
in that case, absolutely. And again, what really got me is again, in the Army, we spoke about this previously. In the Army, the guiding principle to everything we do is integrity, and the beauty of trading in a futures market that is very, very highly regulated is that integrity is effectively the foundation of everything that we do. Right. Yeah. So the game of futures is buyers versus sellers, and the stronger team has to win. So therefore, it's a very, very easy market design to build a really, really great trading system around. Whereas Forex, if I'm not being too rude to the Forex traders, is buyers versus sellers versus the broker, and the broker controls the market. So it's not a level playing field. It's a skewed playing field. And I've converted, dare I say it, I've converted a lot of Forex traders to futures, and it's almost as if the clouds have been taken out of the blue sky when they come into futures, and realize it's a lot more straightforward than what they thought. So.
I love it. And I think most people, by the time they find this show, are already at least looking into futures, but I'd like to think that I've had some impact on that as well.
Absolutely.
Just by having some of these conversations.
I think you're doing a great job. And again, thank you for allowing me to present with you. I think look, futures is hilarious. It's a really exciting opportunity. It's great.
It is, as we continue to, the whole world of futures, in terms of just trading, in terms of, funding companies, prop firms, all this thing, the whole space is continuing to grow and develop in really unique and dynamic ways, which puts you into a pretty interesting position, because at some point down the road, you decided that you were not only going to be a trader, but you were going to be an educator. And I love the comments that people always say, if you're such a great trader, why do you teach? Because, of course, all of the most successful people in the world only have one stream of income. But what was it for you that actually brought you into the world of training and coaching, in addition to your role as a trader?
That is a really great question. And again, back in history, I was again wanting to transition out of the Army. There's a lot of veterans transitioning out of the Army, and basically, not being rude, but they're losing the plot. They're used to doing really exciting stuff. For example, I'm a mountaineering instructor. I'm used to climbing mountains, not climbing a coffee machine in an office. So because a lot of people, struggle with career transition. And the beauty of your question is, I started researching futures trading and found effectively there were no decent futures trading schools in Australia. I don't believe to this day they've still got any decent trading schools. The Australian population is really, really small. Mm-hmm. And therefore they kind of have to put up with, sort of second-rate things going on. Suffice to say, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go. So I was actually educated by an American-based trading school. Shout out to my first trading coach, Rich. He was absolutely incredible. What I needed to do was I needed to find somebody that not only traded, but also ran a live trading room to actually show me what to do and when, because I was coming from a completely military background. So
Right.
I was really good at shooting things, but I was no good at reading candlesticks. And I found a trading coach. He was absolutely brilliant. And then I suddenly thought, well, you know what, if he's that good, why don't we bring this technology? Why don't we bring this way of thinking to Australia? And that's exactly what I did. So I ran actually one of the biggest trading schools, if not the biggest in Australia, until around about November, what is it now, 2024, until around about November 23, and then thought, you know what, I'm going to take on the world. Let's head over to Singapore, and we can be a lot bigger in Singapore than we are in Australia, just based on population alone. So here I am.
Sure, not to mention the impact in the world of finance. I actually spent a little bit of time in Singapore back in the day, and we'll have to swap some stories after the show, because I got some fun ones from Singapore. But as you continue to go down this road, you spend a lot of time talking about transition in and out of the military and that route, and obviously that's been a personal focus of yours.
Yep.
And you mentioned something before the show, which I think is really, you mentioned it as important to people in that arena, but I think that that's very valuable for a lot of traders, myself included, is having something that's very distinctly rules-based. Yeah, discretionary trading is fantastic when you get there, but there is a journey that most traders take before they get there, and usually it's years and years and years. So let's talk a little bit about the mechanics of what it is that you trade, what you teach, and all. Look, folks, we're going to give you some information how you can check out some of Lachlan's stuff for free online before we wrap up the show. But I want to take this time to take a look at let's get a little snapshot at what it is that you're doing that has made you so successful, as well as already put several millionaires on the board. I know your goal is 1,000. So let's take a look at what it is that you're doing in the charts.
Perfect. Well, if you again, if I can, let me just move these cameras around a little bit. There's my little chart there. Now,
window.
You can actually see my chart there. This is so. One thing I say about live trading rooms is I'm the sort of the trade caller in our European Open live trading room. And this is actually the European Open from today. Okay. What we do, and I put some notes on the board because there's going to be a lot of questions about effectively what's this, what's that, and similar things. When I was watching your podcast actually from last week with Isabella, I mean, absolutely incredible to see another veteran up on screen, and a shout out to Isabella. I think she did an incredible job. What I wanted to highlight to everybody is we ultimately run live trading rooms because we can not only show people how to trade, but also educate them in the journey of trading. So I put some notes up in the top left-hand corner. But effectively what we do, and I love your comment regarding subjectivity, because what we do is 100% mathematical. It's 100% as per a formula. We've basically got 12 signals that we trade, and we've got 4 beginners, 4 intermediate, 4 advanced. Effectively, we pick up between 12 to 15 trades every day in the live trading room, and normally we would be projecting the NASDAQ, also the FDAX and the S&P 500. Right. And the reason we ultimately do that is we're looking for agreement between all of those markets. So if you're an American-centric trader, for example, the NASDAQ, and you do want to trade the European Open, it's a very, very good idea to keep an eye on what the Europeans are doing. So the FDAX and the FESX, which is, dare I say, the godfather of Europe, the FESX is a super high volume market, very much like the S&P 500, which makes it quite easy to navigate. But so what we're doing for the beginner traders, we're actually looking for stalling points in the market. Okay, so what I've got over here on the left-hand side, for example, just do this little yellow circle over here on the left-hand side. That is actually a reversal pattern that we picked up off the 4-hour chart. So we are combining, so we do sort of a sort of global level analysis on the daily chart, the 4-hour chart, and the 60-minute chart. And our actual primary execution chart is our 5-minute chart. So we basically, we picked up a beautiful little reversal leading into what we call the Singapore close. The market ran up really, really beautifully. It actually came back down and retested. I'll just move this here for you. It basically came down and retested the exactly the same reversal signal long as soon as the Europeans went to lunch. And shortly after lunch, the market took off to the high side, which I thought was brilliant. Mm-hmm. The two trades that we picked up, and I do want to talk about, if I can, risk management on this one.
Yeah.
The two trades we picked up in the European Open, the two trades are just here. We picked up a short, which was the 50 fib of the day at the time. Naturally, it's obviously skyrocketed because the US has skyrocketed. And then we picked up basically exactly the same trade here. So what we do is we run a series of strength indicators behind the market. So when the buyers are really, really strong, we join the buyers. When they're failing, we would actually say, all right, if the buyers are failing, we're going to join the sellers. You might be able to pick up, see the change of the color of this candle. It's actually gone to a mustard green. That mustard green is an extreme volume warning for the NASDAQ. It basically tells us the buyers are trying to push through a key market level. They can't push through. Therefore, instead of joining the buyers, you should be thinking about going short, which is exactly what we did there. Two squares, these two little squares on the top right-hand side. This little square here, as per the YouTube video, I actually put up about 4 or 5 hours before we did the show. That little square there is a 50 tick box, or about a $250 box. Now, my experienced traders basically took the short off that 50% of the day. Because of this mustard green candle over here, where the buyers said, you know what, extreme volume, we can't go up. We basically turned it and sent it back the other way. And for the experienced traders, we did that twice. Right. So the experienced traders walked away with around about $500 profit per contract traded today, which was good fun. The risk on that trade when we started was around about 20 ticks, around about $100. And once it had moved around about $160 or $170 into profit, we neutralized our risk. So we had absolutely no risk on the trade, as it was ready to rock and roll, basically ready to rock and roll. For the junior traders, and this brings up a really great discussion point. For the junior traders, we don't go for $250 targets. We go for $100 targets. So that's this little box here. And the junior traders, you see, hiding behind that little candle there in the circle, there's this little red line on the screen just there. That little code is a delta code. So it's a code that puts the sell signal on the chart and says, hey, if you're a beginner trader, this is exactly where we want you to sell the market, because the institutional sellers are actually selling at this point. So we're very, very good at hunting the institutions. And again, long story short, where did that indicator come from? When we spoke a couple of weeks ago, I spoke about a disabled trading scholarship where we were teaching disabled kids in Australia how to trade. Or I say disabled, I don't want to upset anybody, so less abled people, I think, is probably smarter. We were teaching them, and a gentleman actually came to me very hard of hearing and said, Lockie, is there any way you can put high probability trades onto the charts? Because I can't hear you properly in the live trading room. Can you project the sell orders and the buy orders on the chart for me so I don't have to hear the live trading room? And that's exactly what we do there. It's basically an AI robot that runs behind the screen, telling people when to buy and when to sell. Now, I thought it'd be really popular, right, for people that can't hear. As it turns out, it's ended up being one of our most popular indicators ever, because it's like our little cheat code. It's like our little cheat code in the market. And for the beginner traders, I mean, they got that little $100 trade over there, which is their daily KPI. It brings up a really important lesson about KPIs. Then the market shot up again, and we can basically trade off that. I'll just extend it across the chart. We can basically trade off that little selling delta again and again and again and again until we finish our trading session. Speaking of experience versus not a lot of experience, one of the greatest hurdles I've observed in traders is that when they first start trading, they literally, I call it, they want to dominate the world in their undies. And I've said to them, please just earn $100 and stop. We're going to do that for a couple of weeks, and then we're going to go to $200. Then we're going to do that for a couple of weeks, and 300, 400, 500. Some of my traders, just so you know, some of the traders are sitting on 80 contracts at the moment. So they've gone from one contract up through 80. I've got a couple on 80, a couple on 60. Most traders, though, are sitting on around about probably 6 to 10 contracts, because that's where they're nice and comfortable. And for the beginner traders, most of them are sitting on sort of 4 to 5 micro contracts. But I've got to say, thanks to the CME, the micros have revolutionized trading, but also as the funding partners have revolutionized trading. Like what you guys have done for the industry is such an incredible game changer. It's just, mate, it's amazing. And if I can share one last thing, over here on the right hand side, obviously the market has failed to go down. You can probably see these little black arrows over here, and just above those black arrows, you've got these little green ones running through this trend indicator. that's a strength indicator we built that when the market takes off, it basically tells people when to trade. And right there, you can see all of these deltas on the chart. I'll just get rid of that circle for you. All of those deltas are basically saying to all the beginner traders, if you're in any doubt at all about whether you should be buying the market, please buy it now, because this is where the instos are ordering into the market. So the algo was written in 2009. It has not changed since 2009, and it's proving to be quite good fun, dare I say it.
Well, I love the way that you're presenting this, and I have to call out Rob on here. He says Lockie has completely changed my perspective on trading. I transferred from Forex to futures too. Shocking. We had an amazing session at the European Open today in the live trading room with Lockie. So we had a conversation last week as we were beginning this conversation, where there's a tendency for a lot of live trading rooms, particularly ones that are heavily influenced by indicators, where it becomes a call out room, and someone has to be in the room or someone has to be on the indicator in order to have any hope at doing anything. Now, that is a risk that you take when you go into that side of things. But what you've done is you've taken an approach of really trying to be more empowering to the traders that you work with by ensuring that they have the capacity to do what they do in the live trading room on their own. How have you managed to build that into the systems?
Well, absolutely brilliant. So there will be a lot of people out there in the world, as I did when I first started trading, that literally, if you don't mind, they poo-poo indicators, go, oh, indicators, grumble, grumble. Right. So what we do is we start by actually teaching people how to be pure price movement traders. So that's actually reading the strength of the candles. So you see that tiny little candle over there on the left-hand side is what we refer to as a static bar reversal. So we teach people how to read the pure price movement of the market. We then layer indicators over the top of it. I think you're absolutely on the money. There's a lot of live trading rooms that basically, as I experienced when I first started, oh, wow, did you get that amazing Bitcoin trade 3 years ago? Wasn't it incredible? It's like, no, I didn't, because I wasn't in your live trading room 3 years ago. Right. So I think live trading rooms, if they're run properly, not only do they instruct you on why you're taking the trade, but they also talk about the pros and cons of the trade, particularly risk to reward, and particularly risk to reward. As every time we take a trade, I say to the traders, the reason we're trading the market is X, Y, Z, and I give them what we call an RCP, or risk control point, which is once the market has moved this far into profit, please bring your risk down so you've got no risk, or reduce your risk. So the one-to-one, so we go well beyond a one-to-one risk to reward. For example, in 2 of those trades today, the advanced traders, they had their stop loss at -1 tick with a target at 50. So their risk to reward was 50 times in their favor. And that for us normally occurs within around 7 minutes of the trade starting.
Wow.
So one-to-one risk to reward is awesome. But I think you've got to be careful about putting a static solution over a dynamic market called the NASDAQ.
Sure.
So what we do is we use, and a tip for everybody, we use the 80% rule. So once the market has gone 80% of the way to our long-range profit target, we scrub the risk on the trade so there is no risk. And we basically use the 5-minute chart, the strength of the candles or the weakness of the candles, to either lock in even more profit or just let the market run in our favor. Right. And again, when your average trade is between 7 and 12 minutes, even if you're an advanced trader, you don't have to wait very long to get an answer. But mind you, that first 12 to 15 minutes when you're in a trade, you know how the world slows down when you're in a trade, like time literally freezes.
I've talked about that many times. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
The stress and strain of being in a longer term trade when you're used to seconds is definitely pretty intense.
It is something that needs to be trained for, and again, that's why I say to all my junior traders, guys, we're going to make you $100, then we're going to stop. The senior traders, they obviously go and make a lot more. Sure. But the reason being, you nailed it before, and your observation is brilliant. Trading is effectively rules. And I think the ex-military, ex-vets, ex-police, ex-fireys, ex-all, they can do such an incredible job in the game of trading if they're happy to just roll with the set of rules that is already established. Sure. And that's what we do. That's all we do. And we sound very boring. But we do it every day, just day after day after day, same thing. So.
I've heard many times, if trading isn't boring, you're doing it wrong. And I firmly believe that it's when those heart palpitations start up, it's like, maybe I need to take some time and consider what it is that I'm looking at right now.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, mate, I love it. And you've been around trading for a while. You know, you've seen the good and the bad and the ugly of it. Trading is not always good fun, but I would say to everyone who's watching, trading is not easy, but it is simple. If trading was easy, we wouldn't have Uber drivers, but we do, right? So trading is not easy because of fear and greed, but it is a very simple process to become a very good trader. Just find someone who's really good at it and copy them. Please don't try and invent your own system. That's what I did. It takes too long. There
is absolutely a key to creating that simplicity, and that does not come from watching 80,000 YouTube videos and trying to mash those into one sort of Gates W. Adams Forge Trader strategy. We don't do it that way, and there's a reason we don't do it that way. You have to build that confidence, and I love the way that you have your beginner traders shoot for $100 target and just be done at that point. And they can learn to walk away a winner before they start to take the bigger trades. Now, one of the interesting things about your strategy, which I have been in this realm before, and I'm not so much anymore, I'm like a one trade a day guy, maybe two. But you're looking for multiple opportunities during a session. About how many trades a day? Like what's the normal range of number of trades that you guys take in a day in a session?
Yeah, great. So we obviously we're on European Open and US Close, which are the two most popular trading sessions sort of globally for our clients. Pick up around about 12 to 15 trades in those sessions.
That's amazing.
In the European Open, let's say that would be 5 to 6 on the FDAX, probably 5 to 6 on the NASDAQ, and 2 to 3 on the S&P 500.
So not the first time they step into the trading room. They're maybe looking at one the first time, right?
So we've literally got, I'm not kidding, we've got a principle called the chase one rabbit principle, which is you chase one rabbit, you catch it, you go home. And so the beginner traders get very sick of saying, right. So they're normally done within about 15 minutes, and they don't get sick of it. But I do say to them, if you've hit your daily KPI, guys, please stop. And how many times, Gates, have we had an incredible start to the trading session, and then we give it all back in the afternoon and go, why the hell didn't I stop, right? So exactly. I think we've got to be rules based. We've got to hit a KPI, run away, and then we're over 6 to 12 months, we just make your KPI progressively bigger and bigger. That's all we do. So.
I love it, man. Well, listen, I don't necessarily generally promote a whole lot of stuff on the show, but you have in fact put together some stuff that traders can access for free on your site. Some educational videos. Is that correct?
100%. So on the front of the website, literally just samuraidaytrading.com, there's a little title up the top called the Starter Pack Video Series that talks about why we do what we do. And ultimately, there's ebooks to download. I've just written the 2025 version of an ebook called Brokers Exposed. Again, for anyone sitting on the Forex fence, they're going to read that book. They won't be sitting on the fence any longer. And what we can do is again, if you do decide to jump on that video series, either the Starter Pack video series or download the ebook, we're also about to run a 7-day free trial of the LTR. Now that is definitely a free trial, as we spoke about earlier. So if you do want to jump in, European Open, US Close, LTR, just watch what we do. It's a really, really fun time. We've got about normally 70 or so traders in the LTR at any one time. So there's people from all over the world that are all trading, and I think that's important that we've got this international family of traders that actually help each other. You know, we complement each other in our success. So so jump on the website, download anything, and we'll be in touch about that live trading room trial.
I love it. And of course, we're all grown-ups. We all know that should someone find some value in what it is that you're providing, that there is an offer available and waiting for them. So should you find that Lachlan is your guy, take full advantage. I mean, he's doing this for a reason, and it's not just, look, the guy's a successful trader, but I like a guy who has a mission of creating $1 billion impact in the market. And that involves more than just himself. And so to me, that's the type of person that I like to share some of what they're doing on the show as well. So listen, man, this has been such a pleasure and such a privilege having the opportunity to chat with you. And Lee, I'm just going to have to thank you for introducing us. This has been so much fun. I could absolutely do this for hours. I know I say this on every show. I just geek out on the show every week. But I could sit here and have this conversation for so much longer. But in fact, we do have time constraints until they decide that they're going to give me an hour-long show. But in the meantime, make sure to go check out Apex Trader Funding, 90% off until just shy of midnight tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. Use promo code Benzinga. If you have not done so already, make sure to fill out the form. We are giving away 3 evaluations over the course of this show, so make sure you take full advantage of that. And whether your name is super easy to pronounce or super difficult, it doesn't matter. We're going to hook you up any which way you slice it. Lockie, you didn't witness. I butcher names on here constantly because we have an international audience, and I love that. And I always feel bad, but I can't feel too bad. We just gave him an evaluation. So
I think you're doing a great job, and thank you for having us. It's been fantastic.
Man, it has been truly, truly phenomenal. Well, we're going to have another great show for everybody next week. But Lockie, thank you so much for sharing some of your wee hours with me and with this group today. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I will see everybody next week, Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on the next Trader Bacon Show. Thanks for joining the Trader Bacon Show.